Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today I want to remind you of a powerful truth when God starts something in your life. It is never by accident or coincidence. It is a divine appointment, a sacred calling, a purpose that He has planted deep within your spirit. The moment God places a vision or a dream inside your heart, He is not just setting you on a random path. He is igniting a fire that He Himself will keep burning until the work is done. This is not just about starting strong, it's about finishing strong. There is a sacred promise embedded in this truth. God is faithful to complete what He begins. You may have felt the excitement of that initial spark, the moment when everything seemed possible, when the doors began to open, and hope filled your soul. But maybe now the journey has become difficult. Maybe the path is rocky and the road seems longer than you imagine. Maybe the pressures are mounting and doubts begin to creep in. But hear me today, that is not the time to walk away. That is the time to lean in closer, to trust deeper, to hold on tighter, because the God who planted that seed in you has not forgotten it. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail, aligning every circumstance, and positioning every piece so that His plan will unfold perfectly. There is a divine discipline in patience and perseverance. The promise that God will finish what He starts is not a guarantee of instant success or an easy ride. No, it is a guarantee of His faithfulness. It is a reminder that even when you can't see the finish line, even when the night seems long and the storms fierce, God's hand is still upon you. He has the power to take your setbacks and turn them into setups for a greater comeback. He has the ability to transform your trials into triumphs and your delays into divine appointments. The faithfulness of God is unshakable. It does not waver with circumstances or shift with seasons. It is a steadfast rock in the midst of uncertainty. This faithfulness means that every challenge you face is temporary. Every disappointment is a detour, and every no is preparing you for a greater yes. So, if you feel like you've been abandoned or left to finish on your own, understand this: you are not alone. The God who started this good work in you is the same God who will bring it to completion. Your part is to keep your eyes on Him, to trust in His timing, and to keep moving forward, even when the way is unclear. His faithfulness will never fail. When God begins something in your life, it is a divine guarantee that He will bring it to full bloom. He will not leave you halfway. He will not abandon the vision. What God starts, He finishes, and that is a promise to hold on to with all your might. When God calls you to a purpose, He doesn't just give you a vision and leave you to figure out the rest on your own. No, the God who calls is the same God who equips. He knows the road ahead may be tough. He knows the challenges, the opposition, the doubts that will rise up like giants on your path. But He also knows that you don't need to walk that road by yourself or without what you need to succeed. He is the one who supplies strength when you are weak, wisdom when you are confused, and courage when fear threatens to paralyze you. You might look at the assignment before you and feel overwhelmed, wondering, how will I do this? Where will I find the strength? But here is the good news: God has already equipped you. It may not be in the way you expect or in the timing you desire, but His provision is always sufficient. He gives you what you need. Sometimes it's patience, sometimes boldness, sometimes clarity, and sometimes it's simply the peace that surpasses all understanding. This is not by your own power or might, but by His Spirit working within you. Think about it. No great task has ever been accomplished without divine preparation. The call to greatness is always paired with preparation for greatness. When God calls Moses to lead a nation, he doesn't leave Moses without support. He equips him with signs, with Aaron, with a purpose so clear that even the Pharaoh's heart will be tested. When God calls David to be king, he doesn't send a mere shepherd boy into battle unprepared. He equips him with faith, a sling, and the courage to face giants. This is God's pattern: calling, equipping, empowering. Your current weakness is not a disqualification. It is a setup for God's power to be displayed. When you feel inadequate, that's when God's strength is made perfect. When you lack wisdom, that's when God's guidance shines brightest. You don't have to have it all together before God can use you. You just have to be willing to trust, willing to obey, willing to step out even when the future is uncertain. God's equipping is not just about giving you tools, but also about shaping your character. Sometimes the preparation is as much about developing patience, humility, and resilience as it is about skill. Every trial, every challenge is part of the divine workshop where God molds you for the purpose ahead. So, don't be discouraged when you feel under-equipped or overwhelmed. Remember, God has already equipped you. The power is in His hands, flowing through you. The wisdom you need, the strength you lack, the courage you doubt. All of it comes from the one who called you. God's equipping is a promise that you will never face the journey alone or empty-handed. He provides, sustains, and empowers. Trust in that promise and watch how what feels impossible today becomes your testimony tomorrow. Every journey toward a dream or purpose will have its challenges. There is no path to greatness that is free from struggle. It's easy to get discouraged when the road becomes difficult, when setbacks come, and when obstacles rise up like mountains before you. But understand this: challenges are not signs of failure. They are essential parts of the process. They are the refining fire that shapes your faith, the testing ground that builds your character, and the proving place where your perseverance is forged. When you face difficulties, it can feel like the world is against you. You may ask, why is this happening to me? Why can't things just be easier? But those challenges are not meant to stop you. They are meant to strengthen you. The storms you endure are teaching you lessons that smooth sailing never could. In those moments of struggle, you learn patience, develop resilience, and deepen your trust in the one who started the work in you. Delays, disappointments, and detours are not detours away from your destiny. They are part of your destiny. They are the waiting room where God prepares you for greater things. Sometimes you need to be stretched before you are strengthened, tested before you are trusted, and trained before you are promoted. Challenges give you the opportunity to rise above your circumstances and prove that your faith is bigger than your fears. Remember, the tallest trees grow strong roots in the harshest soil. The brightest stars shine in the darkest nights. The greatest testimonies come from the hardest trials. Your struggle is not in vain. It is producing something powerful inside of you, a perseverance that will carry you through to victory. The pain you experience now is temporary, but the strength and wisdom you gain will last a lifetime. Don't be fooled into thinking that challenges mean God has abandoned you. The opposite is true. When the pressure is on, it means God is working something greater through you. The refining fire purifies your purpose and removes everything that is not essential. What remains is a stronger, more focused you, ready to walk in the fullness of your calling. It's important to keep your eyes on the prize, to remember the promise that what God starts, He finishes. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Challenges will come, but so will breakthroughs. The key is to hold on, to stay faithful, and to trust that the struggle you face today is shaping the victory you will experience tomorrow. So when the road gets tough, and it will, don't give up. Press on with the confidence that these trials are temporary and necessary. They are part of the divine process that God uses to prepare you for your destiny. Keep moving forward with faith, hope, and unwavering determination, because the God who began the work in you is faithful to finish it. When we look back through the pages of history, especially the stories that have been preserved to teach and inspire us, we see a common thread running through the lives of those whom God called and used mightily. Their stories aren't just tales of success. They are testimonies of faith, perseverance, and the unwavering hand of God, who never abandoned the work He started. These biblical giants remind us that no matter how impossible the circumstances seem, God's faithfulness endures, and He always finishes what He begins. Take Joseph, for example. His story is a masterpiece of divine orchestration. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. At every turn, it looked like the dream God gave him had been shattered. But Joseph held on to the promise that God's plan was still in motion. Through every dark valley, God was preparing him to rise not just to survive, but to save an entire nation from famine. Joseph's life proves that God's faithfulness isn't based on your immediate circumstances, but on His unchanging character. What God starts, He finishes, even when the road is long and filled with hardship. Then there's Moses, called to lead the Israelites out of slavery. Moses faced doubt both from himself and from the people around him. He spent 40 years in the wilderness, seemingly forgotten, yet God was preparing him. When the time came, God empowered Moses to confront Pharaoh, part the Red Sea, and lead a nation to freedom. Moses' story teaches us that even when it looks like nothing is happening, God is still working. The waiting is never wasted, and God's purpose is never thwarted. And what about David? From a humble shepherd boy to the king of Israel, David's journey was filled with giants literal and figurative. He faced rejection, betrayal, and danger. But through it all, David trusted in God's plan. He knew that God had chosen him for a purpose, and that God would bring it to completion. David's courage to face Goliath wasn't just about a physical battle. It was about faith in a God who never leaves His promises undone. These stories are not just historical accounts. They are blueprints for our lives. They show us that no matter how daunting the challenges, no matter how long the wait, God's faithfulness is constant. The obstacles, the delays, the hardships, they don't mean the end of your story. Instead, they are part of the process through which God reveals His power and glory. When you feel like giving up, remember Joseph in the prison cell, Moses in the wilderness, and David facing a giant. They didn't give up, and neither should you. God's faithfulness means that what He begins in your life will come to completion. Your story is still being written, and the ending will be a testament to God's unwavering commitment to finish what He started. Hold on to that truth. Let the lives of these great men remind you that God's hand is on your life, moving you through every trial toward the fulfillment of His promise. What God starts, He finishes, and your breakthrough is on the way. Faith and persistence are the lifeblood of every success story, especially the ones that God is writing in your life. It's easy to believe when everything is going your way, when the sun is shining and the doors are wide open. But true faith is tested and proven in the moments when the road gets rough, when the doubts whisper loudly, and when giving up seems like the easier option. It's in those times that persistence becomes your greatest weapon, your anchor in the storm. You see, faith is not just believing that God can do something. Faith is trusting that God will do it even when you don't see it yet. Faith means holding on to the promise that what God starts, He finishes, no matter how long it takes or how hard the journey. It means believing in the unseen, trusting the process, and moving forward even when the path is unclear. This kind of faith isn't passive, it's active. It's a choice you make every day to keep walking, keep praying, keep believing. Persistence is the grit that fuels this faith. It's the refusal to quit when the odds are stacked against you. It's the determination to keep showing up, keep working, and keep pushing forward when everything inside you wants to give up. Remember, every great achievement in life comes not just from talent or opportunity, but from the relentless persistence of someone who refuses to let setbacks define their destiny. When the enemy tries to discourage you, when people doubt your vision, or when you face repeated failures, it's persistence that keeps your dreams alive. It's the spirit that says, I will try one more time. I will take one more step. I will believe one more day. This relentless attitude aligns you with the faithfulness of God, who is always working behind the scenes to bring His promises to fruition. Your persistence is a powerful testimony. It shows the world that your faith is not just talk. It is real. It proves that you are serious about the purpose God has placed on your life, and more importantly, it prepares you to receive the breakthrough because God honors those who honor Him by not giving up. The longer you persist, the stronger your faith grows, and the closer you get to the fulfillment of God's plan. Don't let temporary setbacks convince you that God's promises have failed. They have not. Sometimes the wait is longer, the battle tougher, and the climb steeper, so that your victory will be sweeter and your testimony louder. Your persistence in faith is the bridge between where you are now and where God is taking you. So stand firm. Stay focused. Keep believing. Every step you take in faith and persistence is a step closer to seeing what God has started in your life come to completion. The journey may be hard, but the promise is sure. God never leaves what He starts unfinished, and your faith, coupled with persistence, will carry you through to the very end. Hope is the anchor that holds the soul steady when the storms of life rage around you. It is the light that breaks through the darkest night, and the strength that carries you when your own resources are exhausted. When you hold onto the promise that God will finish what He started in your life, you are embracing a hope that is unshakable and eternal. This hope is not wishful thinking or mere optimism. It is a confident expectation grounded in the faithfulness of God. To hope is to look beyond your current circumstances and believe in a future that God has already ordained. It is the assurance that the struggles, delays, and disappointments you face today are temporary and purposeful. They are part of a divine process that leads to an outcome far greater than you can imagine. Hope empowers you to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear, and when the world around you seems to be falling apart. When hope fills your heart, it changes the way you see your challenges. Instead of being defeated by obstacles, you begin to see them as stepping stones. Instead of being overwhelmed by setbacks, you start to understand that each trial is a lesson in disguise, teaching you endurance, patience, and trust. Hope shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is coming, from despair to expectation. This hope is a promise from God that He will not leave His work unfinished. When He starts something in your life, whether it is a dream, a calling, or a transformation, He commits Himself to see it through. This is a promise that no power on earth can break, no force of darkness can overturn. God's faithfulness to complete what He begins is a rock, solid guarantee, a covenant that stands firm through every season. To live with this hope is to live with peace, knowing that God is in control and that His timing is perfect. It is to live without fear, because fear cannot thrive in the presence of hope. It is to live with joy, because hope brings a vision of victory that no temporary setback can steal. When you feel like giving up, when the weight of the journey presses down on you, remember this hope. Let it fill your heart and renew your spirit. Speak it over your life and your dreams. Declare that you believe in the God who starts and finishes, who brings beauty from ashes and turns mourning into dancing. Hope is not passive. It calls you to action. It invites you to keep moving, to keep believing, to keep trusting. It fuels your faith and strengthens your resolve. It prepares you to receive the blessings and breakthroughs that God has prepared for you. So hold tightly to this hope. Let it be your anchor, your light, your strength, because the God who began the work in you will bring it to glorious completion. Your future is bright, your victory is sure, and your hope will never be in vain.